Hello everyone, I am Jeriza Adriano, together with my co-members, Trisha Balane, Alessandra Dueñas, Paulo De Jesus, Jake Venus, and Kristan Villapana. Today, we will be talking about the topic related to master budget. This presentation will be illustrative example. But before we discuss this problem, we have to take a look and know the definition of the master budget. That will be discussed by Kristan Villapana.
So master budget, as we defined it, is the functional division of the organization. We prepare the budget for each of division. In a general, the master budget is the sum total of the divisional budget that prepared by all the division. So include the financial planning, the cash flow forecast, and the budget profit and loss, and also the financial plan. Usually it is done in a year by each the organization. The master budget is defined into the operational budget and the financial budget. Under the operational budget are the sales budget, production budget, selling and administrative budget, and also the cost of goods sold or the cost of goods manufactured budget. The second part will be on the financial budget, which include the cash budget in the budget and the income statement in the budget balance sheet. While discussing each of this budget with an example, let's start with the sale budget that will discussed by Alexandra Dueñas.
So let's talk about sales budget. The problem is Tom Benson, sales manager at Cherry's Ice Cream, talked with his salespeople and reviewed market trends for ice cream. Using data obtained from a market research firm, sales budget for Jerry's Ice Cream assumes that the company will increase sales to 15% this coming year. The average price per unit last year was $6. One unit is equivalent to 1 gallon. Tom does not expect any change in this price. The prior year quarterly sales budget is as follows. In the first quarter, we have 40,000 units. In the second quarter, we have 48,000 units. In the third quarter, 60,000 units. And in the fourth quarter, it's 52,000 units. In order for us to get the sales budget, is what we'll be computing in each quarter first. And then, we'll add it to get the annual sales budget. We will multiply first the sales unit to the sales price unit so that we can get the sales revenue here in each of the quarter. Let's substitute first the given units. The first quarter is 40,000 and the second quarter is 48,000 and so on and so forth. Then we will multiply. It is also given here in the problem that the cost average price per unit is $6. That was last year, but it is assumed that it's the same within this year. So multiplied to $6. Same in all the quarter because it's not stated here that there is a change or there will be changes in the next quarter. So for $40,000 multiplied to $6, that is $240,000. The second quarter, 48,000 multiplied to $6, that is $288,000. In quarter 3, 60,000 multiplied to $6, that is $360,000. In the fourth quarter, 52,000 sales and units multiplied to $6, and that is $312,000. To get the annual sales budget, we will just add all the sales units in all the quarter. Starting with the quarter 1, 40,000 plus 48,000 plus 50,000 and plus 52,000, that's around 200,000 multiplied to, we have 1.2 million. If we will be adding also in the sales revenue of each quarter, we will still arrive with the same annual sales budget. That is the table 1, the sales budget. Let's proceed to the table 2, production budget, that will be discussed by Paulo De Jesus and Jake Venus.
So the topic that I'm going to discuss is all about the production budget. Jerry's Ice Cream plans to sell 40,000 units in the first quarter as shown in figure 1. We assume beginning and ending inventory or work in process inventory is zero throughout this chapter. The management prefers to maintain 10% of the next quarter sales in ending inventory. For first quarter, beginning inventory will be 10% of its sales in units. And for fourth quarter, any inventory will be 4,400. Later on, this given here will be substituted to a different quarters. The same given in the first table that we've computed in the sales budget. So for the different target sales in units is still the same. What we are going to do here is we will just be adding the desired ending finished goods and inventory and deduct the beginning finished goods inventory. The first thing that we will do is to substitute and to get the sales in units, which is already provided in figure 1. Let's substitute it in the 4 quarters. 40,000 for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter is 60,000, and 52,000 in the fourth quarter. Then we will add the desired ending finished goods inventory. So stated here, the desired ending inventory is 10% of the next quarter sales. So we'll be multiplying 10% to the next sales in units or the next quarter sales in units. In order for us to get the desired ending finished goods inventory here, assuming that it's not yet visible for you or for us, so 48,000 multiplied to 10%, that's how we arrive with 4,800. We will add the 40,000 plus 4,800, that's 44,800. Or that is what we call the total finished goods inventory needed. Then we will deduct the beginning finished goods inventory. Now, in the following quarters, the beginning inventory will be the ending inventory for the prior years. We will just be multiplying the sales in units to 10% to the 10%. So 40,000 units to 10%, so that is 4,000. Then we will deduct it to the how much is the total finished goods inventory needed, which is 44,800, less this one, the beginning finished goods inventory. The units to be produced for the first quarter is 40,800. In the second quarter, we have this data again given already. The second quarter, 48,000, and the desired ending finished goods inventory. How did we get that? We just multiply 60,000 times 10%. Take note of how we get this one. It's given that desired ending inventory is 10% of the next quarter. So yes, that's why it's 6,000 here. We will add that 48,000 sales units, a total of 54,000 total finished goods inventory. But again, we'll deduct the beginning inventory, and that is coming from the ending inventory of the first quarter, 4,800. As you can see, there is an arrow here for 54,000 less 4,800. We have here 49,200 for the second quarter.
In the third quarter, we have 60,000 is given the sales in units, and then we will add the finished goods inventory, which is 10% of the next quarter sales, or 52,000 multiplied to 10%. Okay, let's add this one. 60,000 plus 5,200, that's 65,000 less the ending inventory, less the beginning rather, which is the ending inventory of the second quarter. The 6,000, so the remaining units to be produced for the third quarter is 59,200. Now last, in the fourth quarter, given already 52,000, and then also we can see here the 4,400 that will be ending inventory for the fourth quarter, and then we'll add that 1 to 52,000 CSN units. That's 56,400. Then we'll deduct the 5,200. The remaining in the fourth quarter is for 51,200. So to get the annual budget for the production, we'll just be adding the same in what we have made with the sales budget. So we'll add the sales units, and that's a total of 200,000. What we are or will be using as the any inventory here is the any inventory in the last quarter, which is the 4,400, and then we'll add that one to the total sales units, 200,000 plus 4,400, a total of 204,400. Now in the beginning inventory, we'll be using the beginning inventory in the first quarter, which is the 4,000. So as you can see, there is an arrow here. So 204,400 less 4,000, the annual units to be produced for Jerry's ice cream is 200,400. Okay, so that is for the production budget or for the table 2. Now let's proceed to the table 3 or the direct materials budget that will be discussed by Jerisa Adriano and Trisha Balani.
Okay, so there is a given here. Let's read it first. Assume 2 pounds of materials are required to produce 1 unit of product. To simplify this example, assume sugar is the only material used. However, other materials such as cream and vanilla are typically required to produce ice cream. Fourth quarter desired ending inventory of 20,000 pounds is based on an estimate of materials needed in production first quarter of next year. Okay, so we'll still be utilizing the table 2 or the production budget. So as you can see, this is what we have done in the previous table. So it's used in the calculation of the direct materials. So our units to be produced here, this one in each of the quarter, and as well as the annual production budget will be used here in the analysis of the direct materials budget. So we will be using that one to multiply the cost per unit or the amount per unit to get our cost of materials. So in the first quarter, that's 40,800, then multiply it by 2. So as you can see, that's 2 coming from the 2 pounds of materials required to produce 1 or 1 unit of product. So we'll just multiply it by 2, which is 81,600, and then we'll add the desired ending inventory. So the desired ending inventory, how did we get that? We just multiply. Look at here below. We multiply 20% to the next quarter production needs. So, like for example here, in the first quarter, we multiply 98,400 to 20%. That's why we have here the desired ending inventory of 19,680. So same as what we did in table 2. The desired ending inventory for the previous quarter will be the beginning inventory of the next quarter. So, we'll add it here to the materials needed in production, a total of 101,280. Now, we will also deduct the beginning inventory. So, same what we did in the previous schedule. In the first quarter, we multiply it to the sales unit, but here, we will multiplying that one to the materials needed in production. So, 81,600 multiplied to 10%. And that's how we get 16,320. So, is it given already the 10% and 20%? Yes, that is already given. So, a total here, 101,280. That's the beginning inventory of 16,320. We have here the direct what there has to be purchased in pounds, which is 84,960. Now, the cost of material is $1 per pound. $1 is equivalent to 2 pounds is equivalent to $1 per pound. So, we'll multiply it by $1 to get the cost of materials to be purchased. Okay, so a total of still the same, 84,964 the first quarter. Now, in the second quarter, again, this is given already on the table 2. We've computed this 49,200. Let's multiply it by 2, then a total of 98,400. And then we'll add the 23,680, which is derived by multiplying 118,400 to 20%. So, total here of 122,080. Less the beginning inventory, which is the inventory of the previous quarter. So, 19,680 So the remaining direct materials to be purchased in pounds is 102,400 multiplied by $1 as the cost per pound. So total of $102,400, which is the direct material cost for the second quarter.
So let's proceed to the third quarter. So again, this is given $59,200. Then multiplied by 2, we have 118,400. Then we'll add the desired inventory 20,480, which is multiplied. We multiply 102,400 to 20%, a total of 138,880. And then deduct the beginning inventory 23,680 and a total of 115,200. Then let's multiply it to the cost materials we purchase, $1. So for the third quarter, we have the direct material cost per unit of 115,200. Okay, in the last quarter, so again, let's have here the 51,200 is the computed amount production needed in the previous table. That's from the table 2 or the production schedule multiplied by 2, so that's 102,400. And then for the 20,000 and inventory, this should supposedly be the 20% of the next quarter CS. But it's not mentioned here if magkano ba yung target CS or target ng materials needed in production for the next year. So it's given already here that the fourth quarter is the third ending inventory of 20,000. We'll just substitute it here and then, so we added to the materials needed in production of 102,400, a total of 122,400. Then we will deduct the beginning inventory, which is the ending inventory of the third quarter, 20,480. So total for remaining direct materials to be purchased in terms of that is 101,920 multiplied to $1. And then the same, we have still 101,920. So the annual direct materials purchase budget is we'll just be adding here all the quarters. So 200,400 in total multiplied by 2. That's how we get 400,800. And then we will still be using the end inventory of the fourth quarter, which is the 20,000. So a total of 420,800 less the beginning inventory of the first quarter, so that's 16,320. The remaining direct materials to be purchased is 404,480 multiplied to $1. And then that's it. We have 404,480. So that is our direct materials budget.